Hello everybody, Emperor Squam here, and today we're going to be talking about how your intelligence is your liberty. And what I mean by that is the perpetual growth of your intelligence. How I will communicate that is through the habit of reading. Right here we have the book Napoleon by Andrew Roberts. What I mean by your intelligence is your liberty is that the more you know, the more you release yourself of the chains of ignorance. And it is ignorance that plagues us all and is the biggest thing that troubles us all. And the more you release yourself from ignorance, the more free you are, the more you're able to actually use your free will and not be burdened by bad decisions and bad life choices. Right here, flipping through, we're looking at pictures of important people, events throughout Napoleon's life. This book, I have the physical copy, but I listened to it as an audiobook. As for me, the habit that I have with reading is I'll read 10 to 15 pages a day, depending on the book, how big the pages are, how many words are in each page. But I'll read 10 to 15 pages a day and an hour of listening to an audiobook. And for me, I would say that without this habit, I would not be the person I am today. That is because the more I release myself from ignorance, I become a different person. And thinking back, me 5 years ago is a completely different person. Granted, I was younger, but I still am a completely different person. And without the accumulation of knowledge that I have habitually grown, I would not be who I am today. Here, I'll flip the page and I have to look at that guy's chopped off head. And a reason why I say this habit must be perpetual is, for example, me. I think back all those years ago on who I was, and I'm like, wow, I was so dumb back then. I can't believe I thought that. I can't believe I did that. Good thing I'm smarter now. But then in the present, I'll proceed to make some dumb decision, or I won't know how to handle a certain situation. It's like a Dunning-Kruger effect, where I'm sure if you don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, I'll put a graph up here. But it's basically when you begin to learn something, you start learning the basics and all that, and you think it's very easy. But then it gets to a point where you realize that you don't know nothing about this. So you go back down, and then you start growing back up again, you know? And I feel that pertains to certain fields, like chemistry, biology, that pertains to every single field, but it also, most importantly, pertains to life. And the books I read, I love reading about history, philosophy, specifically Stoicism, psychology, and military history. That's why I have my obsession with Napoleon. He's just a absolutely fascinating figure to me. And speaking of which, to at least specifically history or reading in general, you get to live so many lives, you know? And for example, every mistake has already been made for you. The more you read, the less mistakes you have to make for yourself. Our next book right here, Meditations to Heal Your Life, Louise L. Hay. The books I'm showing you today, I chose the most visually, I don't want to say stimulating, but the most pleasant ones to look at. This one has nice, beautiful drawings. This book, well, Meditations to Heal Your Life, I believe it was written in the 90s. Sometime like that. But yes, your intelligence is your liberty. The more you learn, the less mistakes you have to make for yourself. The less mistakes you have to make for yourself, the more that you're able to live life properly. That's the ultimate goal of all of this, to live life properly. And that's why we have such long lives. I heard this story. If I could find credit for it, I will put credit. But this boy saw his dog get put to sleep. But he was fine with it. And they asked him why he was fine with it, why he didn't seem troubled about it. And he said that his dog already knew how to love and be happy. And so that's why he has a shorter lifespan than humans. And that we humans have a lot to learn about love and being happy. And that's why we're here for such a long time. Now don't think too deeply about that line of logic, because I'm sure a tortoise is very much happier than most humans, even though they're like 200 years old. But this is what I'm talking about. That to release yourself of ignorance is to be able to live less ignorantly. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean stupid, but simply a lack of knowledge. And everybody has ignorance. That's why it's supposed to be perpetual. Everybody is supposed to be a forever student in life. Let's pull out the next book. The classic book on military strategy by B.H. Littleheart. This book, I really like this book. This book taught me a lot. Not just about warfare, but about indirection, thinking outside the box. Prepared some pages for us, like I said, visually stimulating. Right here, we have my favorite bookmark. So the Mediterranean, you got, I don't know what time period this is. You got Italy, Turkey, Greece. You see Turkey has taken over the Balkans over here, so this must be sometime during the Ottoman Empire, the medieval era. Yeah, and your intelligence is your liberty, because perpetually accumulating your intelligence will allow you to live well. And that's what everybody should strive to live for, to not just only live, but to live well. To be happy, to fulfill your soul, and to bring joy into the lives of others and not just yourselves. So, accumulating knowledge is more than just trying to be a smart ass at trivia, trying to prove how smart you are. It's more of a humble pursuit of being able to live well. And as I mentioned earlier, I see myself as a completely different person just about it relative to any time period. You know, I'm a different person than I was yesterday, last week, last month, last year. And if I think about that, it scares me in a good way, because I know if I stop now, I'd be stopping at a point where it's like if I stopped 5 years ago, before I even had all these reading habits to make my life better. If I stopped then, well, I would have think, for the rest of my life, I would think I have all the knowledge that I need to have. And that scares me in a good way into being a better person. Because I know that in this Dunning-Kruger effect that we all live in, there's so much more to learn, and there's so much more better ways to live. And that's why in this pursuit, I keep it perpetual. And that is the lesson of this video, that intelligence is your liberty, because ignorance is your chains. Free yourselves of your chains and be liberated. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little ramble session. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.